March 9th and 10th as a date for the Archery Championship that would hold a Package B of the Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abuja to kickstart NAFED activities for the year 2025, while names of eminent personalities penciled down as patrons of the NAFED were also ratified by the EXCO Board Committee. The President also appealed to members to join in the crusade that will aid the development of archery sports in the country. Let's talk tennis this morning as well, because defending champion Nigeria's Haruna Quadri and Egypt's Dina Meshref are set to defend their titles at the 2025 ITTF African Cup in Tunisia from February 25th to 27th. In addition to this title, the players will compete for sport at the 2025 ITTF World Cup in Macau, that is in China, this April. At the first tournament on the ITTF African calendar, the event promises explosive with many of the continent's top players heading to Tunisia next week. The semi-finalists in both the men's and women's event will secure their place at the expanded ITTF World Cup. Kingsley Haruna Quadri back again to the African scene, where he has also dominated, winning 5 straight times. But don't also forget that Meshref as well as Daguda of Egypt are also one of the heavyweights, to take part in this. In fact, more like the aggregation of the best, tennis players in Africa. What do you make of Haruna chances this time around?
Talking about his chances, for the past 2 or 3 years now, the chances of Haruna making it very high in any tournament, has been something that, tennis lovers has found it difficult to predict. Due to the fact that, of course, the man has not been that, very much consistent. I think earlier this year, we saw him, of course, in Doha, in the World Table Tennis Championship in Doha. He was almost, I think he even got to the semi-final of that one, but he was actually being knocked out, at the end of the day. So, for me, talking about, his chances of probably him winning a tournament like this, it's something that we are not sure of because of his level of performance. Haruna, since last 2 years has not been, of course, very fantastic. I don't think he has even won any championships since the last 2 years. So his performance has not been that, very fantastic like we just, taking a look at the fact that we have the likes of Umar Asa, the Egyptian, who has been very, very fantastic, even ahead of Haruna Quadri. If you take a look at his level of performance so far, you definitely, of course, will say it might be a little bit of a tough one, but we hope to see a different Haruna Quadri this year. Don't forget, it's gradually winding down. Age not really by his side, and for him to live on the high is something that every tennis lovers down here in Nigeria really want to see. So I just hope that he'll be able to capitalize on this tournament and see how he can start, of course, gaining momentum. When you talk about the ranking, yes, he has been so favored when it has to do with the ranking, but winning laurels is what, of course, so many persons expect from him, looking at the fact that he's that man that everybody rely on, or Nigerians rely on, whenever we talk about table tennis in the country. And we hope to see our own up there, just like we're talking about Ono Aluakbokberi, who is doing well down here in Nigeria and also in the African scene. We want to see that same consistency for Haruna Quadri. I know he has done his best, over the years. This is a period where maybe age is quite gradually telling on him at this point. You cannot just be that fantastic in every game you find yourself. So we just hope that he'll be able to, of course, better his chances and see if he can grab this ones, maybe ahead of the Egyptian, talking about Umar Asa.
Now you talked about the Egyptian Umar Asa. Don't forget that he has also won the championship 5 times, just as Haruna Quadri has won it 5 times as well. So they are both tied on 5 championship. But the difference is that Haruna Quadri has appeared in more final compared to Umar Asa. But this time around, do you think that Umar Asa is going to leapfrog, our own Haruna Quadri to 6th championship?
It can be. It might happen. We just hope that Haruna do not allow that to happen. Yes, we understand that Haruna maybe might have gotten better chances in terms of appearing in more finals of this particular one than Umar Asa. But if you take a look at it, both of them are tied when it has to do with the title. It doesn't matter how many finals you've gotten, it's about how many were you able to win. That's what, of course, counts at the end of the day. So For me, I think if you take a look at it, for in terms of their performance, Omar Sa, of course, take a look at his last performance, in different tournaments. You definitely want to give it up to him that he has what it takes, to be able to challenge Aruna for this particular one. And for me, just like I mentioned, the inconsistency in Aruna is something that is really is something that is very, very disturbing. We just hope that he'll be able to find back his mojo. In the first tournament of the year, I think he did his best. Went down to the semi-final of, I think, Doha Open. And if he had probably gotten that one, maybe that would have been, of course, an opportunity for him to have maybe gotten for himself. But he let that one slip off his hand in the semi-final. So I think he might possibly build up on that particular performance. And if he does that, that means it's going to be a very tough one in this particular one.
Of course, Haruna Quadri will renew his long-time rivalry with the Egyptian, talking about Omar Assar. Haruna, the most decorated player in the tournament history, has won the title 5 good times. That is 2004, 24, 2017, 2016, 2014, then in 2009 as well. Moving on, but still talking tennis, this morning on the show, as the African Table Tennis Federation has strengthened its pursuit of robust partnership with leading global companies by signing a 2-year equipment sponsorship agreement with Elite Equipment Manufacturing Company. This agreement will see the company supply equipment for major events across Africa, starting with the 2025 African Cup and the Club Championship in Tunisia later this month. The agreement covers all the 2025-2026 major continental tournament. In a statement signed by directors of the company, Poja Kohli and Aju Kohli, the partnership is part of their commitment to advancing table tennis across Africa. ITTF Africa President Wahid Enitan Moshodi highlighted that the collaboration with the company extends to members association, allowing them to purchase equipment at a very favorable discount under the terms of the agreement signed. Away from that, to the world of long tennis, this morning Britain's Liam Broadley, I believe Yannick Sinner's 3-month ban for doping has been timed to impact the world #1's career as little as possible. The Italian accepted an immediate 3-month ban from the World Anti-Doping Agency, that is WADA, on Saturday after reaching a settlement over his 2 positive drug tests later this year. The 23-year-old, who won the Australian Open in January, is suspended from 9th of February until 4th May, so will be eligible to play at the French Open, next Grand Slam of the year, which begins on the 19th of May. WADA had been seeking a ban of up to 2 years, having launched an appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sports, CAS, following the 2024 decision by the International Tennis Integrity Agency not to suspend a Sinner. All right, in this very one, Kingsley, it has been one story that has been in the lips of so many tennis players. Some were not very comfortable about the, dilly-dally, about what they perceive as maybe more like a favoritism. But then the hammer has eventually come. But taking a look at the fact that he tested positive twice and he's just been given just 3-month ban, do you, subscribe with this 3-month ban? Because there are some players that just by mere taking it just once, you get banned for 2 years, some 4 years, some 3 years. But this man, he has been caught doping twice, and yet they are just giving him 3-month bans.
And if you say the 3-month ban is not enough, for me, I think his strong reasons were actually the reasons why he was actually given that 3 months ban. Don't forget, after he was actually being caught, there were point deduction, also financial implications as well. And secondly, he also sacked his physiotherapist to try to prove, of course, his innocency. What were his strong reasons? I think his lawyer was able to do a very good job for him, because the reasons were the fact that he didn't deliberately, of course, take in this substance. This substance, of course, was administered to him by his physiotherapist. So that was actually, of course, Yannick Sinner's strong reason when, of course, WADA took him to the Court of Arbitration. So if you take a look at it, I think that reason actually helped him for him not to have, of course, that lengthy ban that everyone expected, for him to have. Don't forget, WADA wanted to slam him 2-year ban, but due to the fact that Cena, of course, was able to maintain his composure and also tendered, his strong reason, I think they now actually withdrew the case and decided to, of course, place him on 3 months ban. So if you take a look at it critically, it wasn't really the fault of Yannick Sinner. He tried most kind, of course, to prove innocency in all means by, first of all, sacking the physiotherapist that didn't actually do his job, right, and then putting him in such, of course, a very disturbing situation. And as well, he also has to tell the court that the thing, he didn't actually deliberately take in this substance, that it was actually being administered to him through his physiotherapy. So if you take a look at those reasons, I think that's why WADA, of course, have to drop the matter and, of course, place him on a 3-month ban at this point. Yes, so many other tennis players might say, oh, this is not fair enough, he's supposed to be given, a lengthy ban and more than 3 months, and all of that. But I think if you take a look at how Yannick Sinner has been able to maintain his control after the space of after this 3-time test that he failed, and all of that, I think he has also been tested and it has been discovered that the man has nothing, of course, in his system. So if you take a look at everything surrounding how Yannick Sinner actually went about this case, I think that's why he was given a safe landing. The beats by having just a 3-month ban, in this particular one. But others might say, of course, it's not fair enough. Maybe because it's #1 and everybody's thinking it's given that preferential treatment. But I think the strong reasons was actually the reason why, of course, that particular ban was not a lengthy one.
Of course, after a painstaking investigation, it was discovered that Yannick Sinner did not deliberately, test positive. According to report, it was actually a counter spray. That is what they call it, a counter spray that actually affected him. But then we wish him well as he served his 3-month ban in that very one. Still talking tennis this morning because Jack Draper has progressed to the second round of the Qatar Open with a strong performance in a 6-2, 7-6 win in that very one. At this point, we take a quick break. When we are back, we'll dive straight to the world of football. Don't go anywhere because we're back in a jiffy. All right, welcome back from that short break. Don't forget that we reminded you rather how Olakpade, the National Sport Commission, has actually hailed Team Nigeria badminton because of their impressive display, in that very one. And the ITTF, talking about the African Table Tennis Federation, is set for a championship, and we are expecting Haruna Quadri, to also up his ante in that very one. Also told you how Yannick Sinner have received a 3-month ban, because of his doping offenses in that very one. But let's talk football on the show this morning, because the Referee Development Committee of the Nigerian Football Federation has suspended referee Wilfred Chawe from officiating rather in the Nigerian National League matches. According to the committee, the decision was taken due to Chawe's questionable officiating during the match between Solution FC and Godswill Akpabio FC in Oka on Saturday, February 15, 2025. The referee reportedly awarded an unjustifiable penalty, which was not in line with the loss of the game. The committee stated that Chawe's action not only influenced the outcome of the match unfairly, but also brought the game into disrepute. This is one issue and one challenge that we'll keep facing, and that is why it looks as though whenever the CAF Champions League come calling, the African Cup of Nations and other African regional competition, Nigerians referees are very, very scanty. We don't get to see them officiate big matches right here in Africa. And of course, from this action, do you think that is the right direction to go?
And of course, yes, it's the right direction to go. Whenever these referees are actually being, found wanting in any situation, probably going against the rules, I think for me, sanction, of course, should be done in order for them to sit up, because at some point, understand how, the refereeing thing has been so far, of course, in the country. We sometimes, seen most of these referees, of course, being, to talk about the Van Envelope syndrome, of course, in the Nigerian Premier Football League, being classified to favor a particular team, and at the end of the day, they go in there and make up decisions or put up decisions that are not supposed to be, actually being implemented at the end of the day. So for me, I think this is the right step, the right direction. We must give kudos to the Nigerian Football Federation, even the Referee Association of Nigeria, Referee Association of Nigeria down here. I think they've actually done a whole lot to make sure that they bring sanity when it has to do with refereeing down here in Nigeria. We take a look at the Nigerian Premier Football League. There's been a little bit of sanity, and now they're also trying to see how they can also achieve that in the Nigerian National League as well. So if you take a look at it, the Nigeria Referee Association, they're trying to make sure that they improve the standard, and it's good of a thing. The Nigerian Football Federation President, Ibrahim Musa Gusso, of course, was once a referee in the country. So yeah, I think he knows what it takes to be able to make sure that they bring sanity to the Referee Association of Nigeria, and see how, of course, take Nigerian referee to limelight, just like you mentioned, in CAF competitions, the CAF Champions League, CAF Competition Cup, you hardly see Nigerian referees. Even the African Cup of Nations as well, you hardly see Nigerian referees, due to how poor or how bad they are being perceived out there in the world. So we just hope that with all of this being implemented, that referee down here in Nigeria will return to normalcy.
Hope that referees right here in the country would do the needful so that we can be able to have a very sane league and not about the monkey businesses that they do behind the scene out there when envelope exchange hands, just like what Kingsley pointed out earlier. But now to the Nigerian Premier Football League, Rangers head coach Fidelis Ilechukwu has reacted to his team's victory over league leaders Remo Stars. The Flying Antelope defeated Daniel Ogumodede's side 2-1 in a thrilling Nigerian Premier Football League match at the 24 encounter in Enugu on Sunday. The defeat was Remo Stars' first in 9 league outings. Rangers also got their revenge for the 2-1 loss to Remo Stars earlier in the season. Moving on, Rivers United technical advisor Finidi George has said that his team failed to take their chances in the narrow loss to Enyimba. The Pride of Rivers suffered a 1-0 loss to their host in Aba on Saturday. Omo both won the game for Enyimba with a stunning free kick in the first half, which further leaves a question mark on Rivers United's ability to fight for the league title this season, with 10 points adrift of the league leaders, talking about Remo Stars in that very one. All right, let's head straight to Europe right now because Ruben Amorim of Manchester United has come up with detailed information about his best player so far this season, Amad Diallo, who picked up what now looks like a season-ending injury earlier this week. The former Sporting CP manager watched helplessly as the Red Devils succumbed to a 1-0 defeat to Tottenham Hotspur on Sunday. Injuries to about 12 senior team players forced the 39-year-old manager to name an almost entirely under-18 bench on Sunday after their defeat to Tottenham. Amorim, talking about the injury to Ahmad, explained that the Cote d'Ivoire international injured his knee after attempting a tackle in training. Kingsley, another worry for Manchester United. Despite the debacle, despite their poor season so far, yet players that are perceived as best for now are still heading to the injury list. What do you make of Manchester United and their chances of finishing at least within the top 10 this season?
Talking about chances finishing within top 10, very slim. Manchester United, I mean, very, very poor. Injury, of course, also compounding the woes, for them at this point in time. For me, there's really a troubling situation for Manchester United. I really feel for Ruben Amorim, living where he was, talking about Sporting Lisbon due to pressure to come down to Manchester United, to struggle. It's really been an abysmal one, so far. Take a look at what happened to them over the weekend where they lost to Tottenham Hotspur. It was a very disappointing one, and now they are struggling, almost at the verge of relegation at this point. So for me, the injury worries, not only Amad Diallo, I think other players are also injured. Like, so I think Kobe Mino as well, some of these players, they are now injured, which actually is not a very big problem for Manchester United. How would they survive, the heated Premier League that every team, of course, want to get that means of survival. Even the lowest team, talking about Southampton, Ipswich Town, they also want to, stay survive. Talk about Ipswich Town, they even shoot a game over the weekend against, Aston Villa. So you see the heat, you see how intense the league is. So if you continue like this, it might be very, very disturbing. So for me, it's really a troubling time, for Manchester United, and it would be so unfortunate if United found themselves, of course, in the relegation zone and at the end of the day being relegated. This would be a disappointing one. And I think for me, Ruben Amorim should watch it. He should watch it because it's better he throw in the towel. Because from what I'm seeing at this point in time, if time is not ticking, with the way things are going, he might just take Manchester United to relegation. You ask yourself, are the players really playing for him? Are there any internal issue between him and the players? So things are not going well at Manchester United. So I just hope, he'll be able to, see how to salvage the situation, or he should throw in the towel now and leave the team.
That is the suggestion of Kingsley right here in the studio, that Ruben Amorim should throw in the towel and leave Manchester United unless he take them to relegation. But away from that Brazil and AC Milan legend Marcos Evangelista de Moraes, simply known as Cafu, has told Cristiano Ronaldo he is never the best player
you know, one thing about Cristiano Ronaldo, he will never tell you that Cristiano Ronaldo will never tell you that he's not the best. Yes, he will never tell you that he's not the best. He always says, you know, he always says that, you know, he's the best in everything, that nobody come close to him. But I think Cafu, of course, actually, you know, have his reasons, you know, for saying that. And for me, everyone is entitled, of course, to his or her opinion. Maybe that is his opinion. But for me, is Ronaldo the best player on planet Earth or the greatest of all time? I would say, I won't say that, because I would just say he's one of the best, you know, so far we've seen. You know, he's one of the best. If you take a look at it, how do you rank, you know, the best, you know, player? Or how do you, of course, say such a player, of course, is the best among, you know, others? It's based on achievements. What have you been able to do? What have you achieved, you know, over the years since you started playing? You know, titles, you know, and all of that. Ronaldo, yes, has won everything, if you ask me, in football, but he hasn't won the World Cup, which, of course, the very best that we've talked about so far over the years, the likes of Maradona, the likes of Pelé, even the recent Lionel Messi. They've all won this, you know, tournaments. But Ronaldo hasn't, you know, laid his hand on the World Cup tournament. So, is he really the best? I won't say he's the best. I would say he's one of the best, you know, player. But for him to come out to say he's the best player, I think that is actually his opinion. Cafu also is also entitled to his opinion as well. So, in the case of this particular debate, I think everyone is entitled to their opinion, you know, the way it is. So, I think that for Cafu, he's entitled to what he said.
Of course, for Cafu, he's entitled to his opinion, but then I tell you, there has been so many debates since ever he dropped that very bombshell out there. People taking side, different opinion, different strokes from different folks. But we'll leave it out there and head to the UEFA Champions League second leg playoff, which gets underway today. Many believe this UEFA Champions League knockout round playoff tie between Bayern Munich and Celtic will be over after one leg, but that's not the case. Bayern only led 2-1 on aggregate after a late goal in Glasgow last week left the door open for the Scottish side, but a phenomenal 20-match unbeaten run in the UEFA Champions League home matches suggests they should get the job done with little fuse here in that very one. That include victories in the all 4 UEFA Champions League home games this season under Vincent Kompany, meaning the ex-Manchester City star has a chance to match previous managers Hansi Flick and Joseph Hickings as the only Bayern Munich coach to have won their first 5 home games in the competition. 5 successive home European wins against Scottish opponent would have Kompany. I believe he can join that illustrious company and step Bayern into the last 16 of the UEFA Champions League for the 21st consecutive time. Meanwhile, Bayern coach Vincent Kompany believes it's not done and dusted because, according to him, there is a lot to play. But let's have you the full fixtures. Today, AC Milan will be at home to also welcome Feyenoord in that very one. Atlanta play host to Club Brugge, while Bayern Munich, like I told you, will play host to Celtic at the Allianz Arena. And a big one, Benfica, will trade tackles against AS Monaco 9 p.m. It promises to be a massive one. Still talking about the Champions League, Lukman Ademola is in to be included in the Atlanta's squad for the UEFA Champions League clash with Club Brugge tonight. Lukman sustained a knee injury in training last month and has been sidelined since then. The talented winger has missed La Desia's last 6 games across all competitions. The 27-year-old completed part of the Sunday's training session with the rest of the team in that very one. Kingsley, this is a very big boost for Atalanta, the return of Lukman Ademola. Don't forget, they went away, couldn't conquer. They lost away 2-1, but now they're at home. What do you make of this game tonight with Ademola Lukman back in the fray?
It's going to be a very tight one because I didn't expect Club Brugge to even hold them down, you know, at home. But taking a look at the fact that Atalanta, they've been so fantastic, they've been a high-scoring side. I expected them at least to have gotten a goal. Maybe the absence of Ademola Lukman in that game also affected them, but the man is back now. I think it's going to be another time, another moment where we'll see that spirit, you know, come back, you know, for Atalanta for them to be able to get, the needed result in this particular encounter. This one is, of course, will be played at home, and I think that home advantage, of course, will help them with the return of Ademola Lookman. I think that will also be a source of inspiration for the team to see how they can get this. So I think they've actually gone very far this time in the UEFA Champions League. They don't want to let this slip off their hands. One goal, I think for me, is something they can possibly get done and dusted, being the fact that they've been a high-scoring side, so they can possibly get that goals, at home today. Let's just see how it pans out for them.
Let's see how it pans out for them. Meanwhile, when we are back in the evening by 6 p.m., we'll give you a detailed account and breaking pieces of some of the stats that you need to know about tonight's second leg UEFA Champions League playoff, because a lot is to go down this evening, the ever busy UEFA Champions League, talking about the Swiss format. But Real Madrid midfielder Jude Bellingham could be handed a 12-match ban over 6 X-rated rounds at referee Jose Luis Manuel Montero, which saw him receive a red card against Osasuna on Saturday. Montero gave Bellingham his matching orders in the 39 minutes of the game for using foul and abusive language. But Bellingham, the England international, rather, is adamant he was not abusive toward the official. It remains to be seen whether Madrid will appeal for the red card to be overturned. However, a Spanish FA's disciplinary code stipulates that any player guilty of insulting, offending, or addressing the main referee, assistant, fourth officials, directors, or sport authorities in offensive terms or attitude will be punished with a suspension of 4 to 12 matches. Kingsley, I don't know whether, well, like you and I were talking about this incident on platform, I don't know, but then you are aware about what transpired between Real Madrid over the weekend and Jude Bellingham receiving his matching order, and that actually caused Real Madrid to drop 2 points in that very game. But then 12-match ban for Jude Bellingham if found guilty of the accusation. What will this imply for Real Madrid title chase?
I think it will be a little bit of a setback for them, when it has to do with the title chase. Looking at how intense the title race is now, Barcelona just won their game yesterday, and now they're top of the table. Atletico Madrid are also not relenting as well. Real Madrid, still pushing, for the title. So it will be an intense one. Looking at the fact that Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, they don't want to let things down. And missing a player like Jude Bellingham, could possibly, of course, affect, the team. Don't forget, he's actually an integral member of the first team down there at Real Madrid. So his absence might cause, a little bit of, setback for them. And for Jude Bellingham, too, I think you should watch it. His temperament is now becoming something that, so many persons will not be able to, absorb anymore. I think the man has started flying up of recent. Even his attitude as well, sometimes, to his teammates. Remember at some point where I think he had a little bit of issue with Kylian Mbappe, and all of that. I think he should watch it. He's a very young player. Sometimes, as a player, of course, that you're a good player. What will happen? Try to see how, of course, you can make things, work. That shows team spirit. That shows leadership. So it's not when things probably a decision doesn't go your way or your team, and then you actually spray word or some wrong words, on the center referee. I think he should, watch it when it has to do with his temperament. But if this, of course, happen, I think will be a huge setback, for Real Madrid. Don't forget they're also in the Champions League, and Bellingham, of course, is one man that have also been instrumental for them as well. This might actually bring a little bit of setback for Madrid.
Certainly, this is going to be a very big setback for Madrid in their title chase. Don't forget, last night, Barca said this is another developing story that Atletico de Madrid are still very much interested about Wilfred Ndidi. And this is their kind of player, because Atletico Madrid, the pattern they play. They like players that are very physical. But do you see these deals getting through maybe at the end of the season?
We just wait to see if this, of course, will go through. For me, I think for Ndidi, I would advise him to leave Leicester City. He's been there, I think, over 10. He's up to 10 years now.
9 years.
9 years, And take a look at the way it has been. Leicester City in the past 3 seasons has not been that fantastic. who knows, they might even be relegated again, this season. You take a look at how poor, they've been, so far. For me, I think if Atletico comes to him, or maybe any of the top side, comes, he should, of course, take up the offer and go try something, elsewhere and see what, of course, can come up for himself. I think the man, also age-wise, is gradually winding down, so he should see what he can be able to achieve before, of course, finally calling it a quit, in football. I think it's time for him to leave. But for Atletico, let's just see what comes up. I think that would be a very, very good move, for Wilfred Ndidi, if that deal, of course, will materialize at the end of the day.
Certainly, if that deal gets to materialize at the end of the day, it's going to be a great move for Wilfred Ndidi personally, because I tell you, looking at things, Atletico de Madrid seems to be a higher platform compared to Leicester City, with no disrespect to Leicester City, who won the EPL in 2016 as well. But at this point, this is where we are going to drop the anchor for this morning show. But do well to join us in the evening, 6 to 7 p.m., where we bring you all the details as regard the second leg playoff of the UEFA Champions League match tonight. We will do well to bring you all the incisive analysis, the stats, and everything that you need to know about tonight UEFA Champions League. But I did the show this morning alongside my co-host Kingsley Emmanuel. My name is Emmanuel Michael, the Prime Minister of the Airways, and I'm saying gracias.